What if death was not the end? What if grief could be overturned? And what if a voice could call the dead back to life? This isn't a legend. This is not a myth. This is the true and powerful story of the day Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead. In the small village of Bethany, just outside the bustling city of Jerusalem, lived a man named Lazarus and his two sisters, Mary and Martha. They weren't just acquaintances of Jesus. They were family in faith, friends in spirit. Jesus had eaten at their table, rested in their home, and shared life with them. Their love for him was deep, real, and personal. But one day, a shadow fell over their home. Lazarus became gravely ill. As his condition worsened, his sisters, Mary and Martha, sent an urgent, heartfelt message to Jesus. "Lord, the one you love is sick." They held on to a thread of hope, believing without a doubt that Jesus would drop everything and come immediately. After all, he had healed countless strangers, restored sight to the blind, and made the lame walk. Surely he would not hesitate to save his beloved friend. But when Jesus received the message, his response was unexpected. He did not leave right away. Instead, he said something mysterious and profound. "This sickness will not end in death, but for the glory of God, so that the Son of God may be glorified through it." And then he waited for 2 more days. 2 long days filled with agonizing silence for the sisters in Bethany. While Jesus waited, Lazarus took his final breath. The house that was once filled with laughter and fellowship was now filled with the sound of weeping. The sisters, Mary and Martha, collapsed in overwhelming grief. Their brother, the heart of their home, was gone. His body was carefully wrapped in burial cloths, anointed with spices, and laid in a cold, stone tomb. A heavy stone rolled against its entrance. 1 day passed, then 2, then 3. By the time the 4th day dawned, hope was buried along with him. The finality of death had settled in. At last, Jesus began his journey to Bethany. When Martha heard he was approaching the village, she couldn't wait. She ran out to meet him on the road, her heart a storm of conflicting emotions. Her voice trembled as she cried out the words that had been echoing in her mind for days. "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." It was a statement of faith mixed with the bitter sting of heartbreak. Jesus looked at her with compassion that saw past her pain and spoke these eternal, life-faltering words. "I am the resurrection and the life. Anyone who believes in me will live, even though they die. And whoever lives by believing in me will never die. Do you believe this?" Then Mary came, followed by the mourners from the house. She didn't have Martha's strength to stand and confront him. She fell at his feet, overwhelmed by her sorrow, and repeated the same desperate cry, "Lord, if you had been here... And when Jesus saw her weeping, and the others weeping with her, his own spirit was deeply moved. And for the first and only time recorded in Scripture, the shortest and most powerful verse appears. Jesus wept. He shared in their pain. He felt their loss. He wept not just for Lazarus, but for all of humanity, trapped by the sting of death. "Where have you laid him?" he asked. They led him to the tomb. The crowd followed in a hushed, curious silence. A heavy, unyielding stone sealed the entrance, a final barrier between life and death. Jesus stood before it, the quiet authority of heaven in his posture, and commanded, "Take away the stone." Martha, ever the practical one, protested immediately. "Lord, by now there will be a terrible odor. He has been dead for 4 days." Her words were a stark reminder of reality, of the decay that had already set in. But Jesus gently replied, his voice steady and firm, "Did I not tell you that if you believed, you would see the glory of God?" Hesitantly, with a mixture of fear and fragile hope, some men strained to roll the massive stone away, revealing the dark, silent opening of the tomb. The tension was palpable. What was he going to do? Jesus lifted his eyes to heaven and prayed, not in desperation, but with calm assurance. Father, I thank you that you have heard me. I knew that you always hear me. But I said this for the benefit of the people standing here, that they may believe that you sent me. Then, taking a deep breath, he turned his gaze to the tomb, and, with a thunderous command that seemed to shake death itself, he cried out, his voice echoing through the silence, "Lazarus, come out." For a breathtaking moment, there was nothing but silence. The crowd held its breath. Then, a shuffle, a movement from within the darkness of the tomb. A figure emerged, stepping slowly into the light. It was a man, wrapped from head to toe in grave clothes, his face covered with a burial cloth. He was alive. Lazarus walked out of his own tomb. A collective gasp swept through the crowd. The sisters screamed, not in grief, but in utter shock and overwhelming joy. Death had lost its grip. Life had triumphed, with a calm that defied the impossible scene before them. Jesus said simply, "Unwrap him, and let him go." As they unbound him, Lazarus stood before them, a living, breathing testament to a power greater than the grave. This miracle, this incredible moment in history, was not just about Lazarus, it was about you. It's a message that echoes through the centuries. When your hope feels dead and buried, when your dreams seem lost in a tomb of disappointment, when you feel you've been in the dark for far too long, Jesus still calls your name. No matter how long your situation has been in the grave, no matter how impossible it seems, his voice still has the power to bring life from death. Because the same Jesus who stood before that tomb and called Lazarus forth is alive today. And he still specializes in resurrection. Nothing is too dead for God to revive. Thank you for watching. If this story touched you, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that brings hope to life.